The city never sleeps, but inside the sterile glare of a glass-walled interrogation room, time has frozen. Handcuffs bite into the billionaire's wrists, cold metal pressing against skin that once only knew the feel of tailored Italian suits. He stares ahead, but his vision drifts, past the detectives, past the pane of two-way glass to the impossible. A little girl, no older than 8, standing just outside the threshold, clutching a fraying plush rabbit. Her eyes, the same stormy gray as the billionaire's, are wide, brimming with tears and wordless questions. A lone fluorescent flickers above, casting harsh shadows across the room, strobing his features between power and fragility. The billionaire's jaw clenches, knuckles whitening. Across the table, a detective leans in, voice low. "You built an empire, but you couldn't save her." The girl presses her palm to the glass, silent. He does not move. The world outside spins, stock tickers crawl, rain lashes the city skyline, police radios crackle. But inside, all that exists is shame, love, and the unbridgeable gulf between them. He cannot remember how he got here, only the echo of the child's gaze. Regret floods him, drowning boardroom victories, magazine covers, applause. In this suspended moment, power and helplessness collide, rewriting the story in a single look. Rain drums relentlessly against the glass as the world outside rushes past, indifferent to the private tragedies unfolding within. The billionaire sits motionless, shoulders hunched beneath the weight of unseen judgment. The detective's words replay in his mind. "You built an empire, but you couldn't save her." He struggles to swallow, jaw working as his gaze is drawn again and again to the little girl, her outline softened by mist and shadow. Every inch of his carefully constructed life dissolves under the harsh fluorescent lighting. The city's heartbeat pulses distantly, but in this room, the only sound is the slow, aching thud of regret. The billionaire's fingers twitch against the steel tabletop, desperate to reach out, but he remains chained to consequences he cannot escape. The girl's hand trembles on the glass, longing for a connection that's now lost in layers of shame and glass and rain. No headlines, no accolades, no power in the world can bridge the chasm between them. Time slows, stretching out the agony of realization. All his victories, all his sacrifices, have led him to this silent, irreversible defeat. The detective watches the billionaire closely, searching for a crack in the armor. The billionaire tries to meet the gaze, but each glance toward the glass shatters his composure. He remembers boardrooms, applause, the day his photo graced the cover of Time magazine, face hard and triumphant. None of it matters now. The silence is filled with what's unsaid. The detective said, "Did you ever stop to think who you'd hurt, chasing all that?" The billionaire's voice is a rasp, barely audible. "I only wanted to protect her." Outside, thunder rolls, lightning casting jagged shadows across the girl's face. Her lips form silent words, lost to the glass. The detective's face softens, if only for a heartbeat. But the chains remain. The billionaire's legacy is weighed not in profits, but in the tears he cannot wipe away. He closes his eyes, fighting the storm inside as rain pours harder, drowning out all hope for redemption in this moment. The billionaire opens his eyes as the detective stands, slow and deliberate. Chair legs scrape concrete, echoing through the emptiness. The girl outside the glass steps closer, pressing her cheek against the barrier, leaving a faint, foggy mark. The billionaire said, "Please, just let her go home." The detective studies him, expression unreadable. Sirens wail in the distance, a city still alive outside this capsule of pain. The billionaire's mind floods with memories. A playground, laughter, a promise whispered into soft hair. Now those memories cut deeper than any accusation. He tries to smile at the girl, but only manages a quiver. She hugs her rabbit tighter, eyes never leaving him. The detective finally nods, gestures to the door. The billionaire slumps, the last ounce of hope draining from his posture. Glass and rain separate father and daughter, love and loss, past and present, forever frozen in this moment. As the detective opens the door, a gust of rain-soaked wind sweeps in, carrying the city's chill. The girl hesitates, then is led away by a uniformed officer, her small form swallowed by shadows. The billionaire watches, helpless, as her figure fades from view, each step a silent accusation. The rabbit dangles from her hand, its head trailing against the floor. The billionaire's world shrinks to the cold metal of the table, the echo of the door slamming shut, and the memory of what he's lost. No empire can shield him from the emptiness that follows. He bows his head, tears mingling with sweat on his cheeks, while outside, the city pulses on, unaware of the quiet collapse inside one glass room. His name is whispered on the storm, not as a titan, but as a father who failed when it mattered most. The story shifts focus to a child, no older than 10, sitting alone in a dimly lit corner of a small, cluttered convenience store. His eyes flicker between the worn shelves and the small television overhead, where a news report talks about corporate scandals and fallen empires. The boy's mother stands behind the counter, her face etched with exhaustion, pleading quietly on a phone for any job offer that might keep them afloat. He watches her struggle, the weight of worry pressing on the fragile shoulders of a child. Despite the chaos around him, a quiet promise settles deep inside. He will never be like the men whose mistakes ruin lives. His young hands clutch a half-eaten candy bar, but his mind is elsewhere, sketching a future fueled by determination and fire. Around him the hum of flickering fluorescence blends with the murmur of customers, but his silence screams of dreams yet to be realized, a sea of ambition growing amid shadows of hardship. Years later, that boy has grown into a young man, standing resolute in a sleek modern boardroom, far from the dusty store aisles of his childhood. His eyes burn with unyielding resolve as he listens to a dismissive board member, questioning his capabilities. He doesn't flinch. This is the moment he vowed to create a different legacy, one forged by grit rather than inherited power. His mother's worn hands flash through his memory, the sacrifices made to get him here. The room hums with quiet tension, the polished wood and glass reflecting ambitions and unspoken doubts. Despite the luxury, he feels the sting of isolation. But beneath his tailored suit beats a heart fueled by every moment of rejection and hardship. The young man speaks with calm authority. "I am not here to ask permission. I am here to change the game." Every word is a brick in the fortress he's building, each gaze a reminder of the battles fought and those still to come. In a quiet office late at night, the young man sits alone, papers and laptops scattered around him. The glow of the city skyline paints long shadows on the walls. His phone buzzes, a message from an old friend reminding him of lost birthdays and broken promises. He sighs, knowing the price of ambition is loneliness. Memories of his mother's weary smile fuel his relentless pursuit, but a deeper yearning lingers beneath the surface. He's climbed so far, yet the void of personal connection widens with every step. The silence is broken only by the hum of the city below and the soft tapping of his fingers on the keyboard. "This empire is more than numbers," he murmurs. "It's about what we choose to leave behind." His eyes harden, determination renewed, even as the toll of sacrifice etches itself into his soul. The night stretches on, a relentless partner in the cost of dreams. The young man's journey is not without victories, but each win carries its own price. At a celebratory launch event, in a sleek downtown venue, he smiles with practiced ease, but inside, a storm rages. Friends and lovers linger at the edges, their faces fading into background noise as ambition pulls him deeper into isolation. The cheers and clinking glasses mask the ache of birthdays missed and promises broken. A fleeting glance at a photograph on his phone, a childhood memory with his mother, rekindles the fire, but also the cost. He whispers to himself, "This is for us." The crowd's applause fades, replaced by the relentless tick of a clock, counting down moments stolen from a life he once dreamed of living. Every victory tastes bittersweet, every milestone shadowed by the sacrifices made along the way. The young man steels himself, eyes scanning the horizon. The price must keep rising. The game is far from over. Late into the night, alone in his penthouse suite overlooking the city, The young man stares out at a sprawling metropolis glittering with possibility and peril. His reflection in the floor-to-ceiling window stares back, a man forged by fire and solitude. He traces the contours of a faded photograph, a reminder of the child who vowed never to be broken. The empire he's building demands more than ambition. It demands sacrifice, ruthlessness, and sometimes the loss of self. His phone vibrates, a message from an unknown number. A simple line, "You're not alone." His heart races. For the first time, a flicker of hope pierces the steel walls of his resolve. Outside, the city hums with life, indifferent, yet full of promise. He breathes deeply, ready to face what comes next. This is only the beginning. The young man's journey intensifies as sleepless nights become the norm. In his sleek office, bathed in the cold glow of monitors, he pores over strategy documents, each line etched with his relentless pursuit of success. His eyes burn red from hours without rest, fingers tapping out commands with unyielding precision. Outside, the city sleeps, but inside this fortress of ambition, time is currency and loss is collateral. Memories of friends and lovers fade like ghosts, sacrificed on the altar of empire building. He whispers to himself, every step forward costs something. His phone buzzes, a missed call from someone once close, now distant. The weight of solitude presses down, but he pushes harder, fueled by a fire that blazes brighter than exhaustion. The victories are real, but their taste is tinged with bitterness, a constant reminder that rising requires giving up everything he once held dear. The young man's birthday passes unnoticed, swallowed by a late-night board meeting. Surrounded by executives in tailored suits, he listens as plans for acquisitions and expansions roll out in cold clinical detail. His mind drifts to the small celebrations missed, the quiet dinners alone, the calls unanswered. A loyal friend texts a wistful reminder. "Happy birthday. Remember to breathe." He forces a tight smile, pushing down the ache. Every win on the corporate battlefield comes with the price of lost moments, stolen happiness. The room hums with ambition, but for him, it is an empty echo. His eyes meet a window, catching his reflection, a man hardened by sacrifice but softened by unseen loneliness. The fight continues, but he wonders how many more battles he can endure before the cost becomes too great to bear. Friends and lovers drift away as ambition tightens its grip. Alone in his apartment, the young man scrolls through photos of happier times, smiling faces, shared laughter, unburdened moments now distant memories. His phone vibrates with a message from an old flame. "Do you ever miss us?" His heart clenches. He types back, "Every day. But this is my path." The cost of his empire is isolation, the price paid in fractured relationships and lost trust. He stands by the window, watching neon reflections ripple on rain-soaked streets. The empire grows, but the man behind it feels increasingly invisible, a ghost haunted by the sacrifices demanded by power. Yet, deep inside, a stubborn spark refuses to die, a hope that someday, all the losses might mean something more. A major win arrives, a triumphant acquisition announcement in a packed conference hall. Cameras flash, applause rings out, but the young man's smile is tight, eyes scanning the crowd for familiar faces. The media hail him as a visionary, but behind the scenes he counts the cost. Late nights, strained alliances, personal sacrifices mount like unseen debts. His phone buzzes with a terse message from his mother. "Be careful." Her words carry the weight of worry and love, a reminder that success is never without peril. The applause fades as he steps down from the stage, alone with the ghosts of what he's left behind. The empire expands, but so does the silence in his heart. Every victory, every gain, comes with a price far higher than money. In the solitude of his penthouse, the young man reflects on the costs of ambition. The city sprawls beneath him, indifferent to his struggles. He opens a letter from his mother, words filled with love, warning, and hope. He traces the ink, the weight of family legacy pressing down, reminding him that success without soul is hollow. His gaze hardens as he steels himself for the battles ahead. The Empire demands more than just business acumen. It demands sacrifice, resolve, and sometimes the willingness to lose what matters most. He whispers to the empty room, "I will not fail." Outside, the city hums with life, an endless dance of light and shadow, promise and peril. Tonight, he embraces the cost, ready to face the rising tide with a heart both hardened and hopeful. The ground suddenly shifts beneath the young man's feet. In the gleaming boardroom where he once stood unchallenged, whispers begin, quiet, sharp, impossible to ignore. A trusted co-founder, someone he believed an ally, has been siphoning resources behind his back. The betrayal cuts deeper than any external rival. His heart pounds as the revelation hits. The business was never truly his alone. The Empire's foundation shakes, secrets unraveling with each whispered accusation. The room feels colder, walls closing in as he processes the betrayal. The weight of years spent building trust, now shattered. His voice is low but fierce. "How could you?" The co-founder meets his gaze, indifferent. A silent war ignites, and with it, the realization that the battle for the company is more personal than ever. The stakes rise, and with them, the cost of every decision. The young man's world fractures further when a whispered truth surfaces. His mentor, the man who taught him the rules of the game, has been embezzling funds. The news hits like a blow, his trust turning to ash. Alone in his private office, he stares at the framed photograph of them together, smiles frozen in happier times. The mentor's betrayal feels like a personal wound, twisting deeper than any business loss. His voice is barely a whisper. "How did I miss the signs?" Nights grow darker as paranoia creeps in. Allies seem shadows, enemies wear familiar faces. The empire he fought to protect now feels fragile, built on shifting sands. He vows silently, this betrayal will not be his undoing. With clenched jaw, he plans his next move, knowing every step now carries heavier consequences. In the midst of turmoil, a crushing personal blow arrives. The young man receives news that his health is failing. A diagnosis he cannot share with his team, hidden behind a mask of resolve. The weight of the secret threatens to break him. Alone in a sterile hospital room, he lies back, staring at the ceiling tiles, heartbeat echoing louder than machines. The empire, the battles, the betrayals, all blur against the urgency of mortality. He whispers to the sterile air, "I'm not ready to fall." Yet the knowledge gnaws relentlessly, a ticking clock counting down moments left unspoken. He steels himself, knowing the empire depends on his strength, but his heart aches for the life slipping away quietly in the shadows. The fight is far from over, but now the stakes are more than business, they are life itself. As the young man grapples with these shocks, the greatest revelation arrives. A secret that shatters everything. The woman he once loved, his first love, is the sister of his fiercest business rival. The knowledge hits like a thunderclap, twisting his heart and mind. Memories flood back, shared laughter, stolen glances, now tainted by the bitter reality of family allegiance. He stands alone on his penthouse balcony, city lights sprawling beneath him like a battlefield. The lines between ally and enemy blur, love and rivalry entangled in a dangerous dance. His voice is low, full of disbelief. All this time, I never knew. The empire is no longer just a game of power. It's a deeply personal war, with stakes far beyond corporate control. The revelation changes the game entirely, forcing him to confront the past to survive the future. The young man faces the collapse of everything he believed certain. His empire is fractured, alliances broken, and his heart torn between love and rivalry. Sitting alone in a dimly lit room, he clutches a faded photograph of the woman he once cherished. What? The past and present collide violently, leaving him raw and vulnerable. His voice breaks as he murmurs, "What am I fighting for?" Outside, the city roars on, indifferent to his unraveling world. Yet beneath the chaos, a fierce determination begins to burn. This fall will not be final. He rises, a man forged by betrayal, illness, and heartbreak, ready to fight not just for power, but for a future rewritten on his terms. The floor drops away, but he will not fall. This is his reckoning. The boardroom is thick with tension, the air charged like a storm about to break. Chairs scrape against the polished floor as executives take their seats, eyes sharp with anticipation. The young man stands at the head of the table, face resolute, suit impeccably tailored, but his hands betray a flicker of nervousness. Today is the summit, the moment where legacies will be rewritten or destroyed. The boardroom vote looms, an irreversible decision that could shatter everything he has built. His voice cuts through the silence. This is not just about profit. It's about honor, trust, and what we owe to those who came before us. Each word carries weight, the room hanging on his every syllable. The opponents stare back coldly, their alliances ready to strike. The fate of the empire balances on a knife's edge, the outcome promising either salvation or ruin. The young man's voice rises with fierce conviction as he delivers a final, passionate speech. He recalls the sacrifices, the betrayals, the love lost and found, each chapter etched into the company's soul. We stand at a crossroads, he declares. The legacy we choose to protect defines us all. The room falls silent, breaths held as the vote approaches. Some faces soften, others harden. He catches a glance from a longtime board member, a flicker of doubt replacing certainty. The weight of the moment presses down, a moral summit where past debts and future hopes collide. Behind his calm exterior, his heart pounds. This speech might save or doom everything. He finishes with a quiet plea. Let us not forget why we started, and who we fight for. The decision hangs in the air, final and irreversible. The vote is called. Silence swallows the room as fingers rise, one by one, each casting the future in stark relief. The young man watches, heart hammering, as allies and rivals reveal their cards. The final count is a knife-edge split, the decision so close it feels like a breath held too long. His gaze meets that of the woman he once loved, now a rival's sister, sitting across the table. Their eyes lock. Unspoken history, unresolved feelings sparking beneath the surface. The boardroom hums with tension, a storm waiting to break. Then the chairman announces the result. The legacy will continue, barely. Relief floods him, but tempered by the knowledge that the battle is far from over. This victory feels hollow, the price paid etched in every silent glance and cold handshake. After the vote, the young man finds a rare moment of vulnerability. In the empty hallway he encounters the woman, the sister of his rival, and the keeper of his first love's memory. Their conversation is terse, loaded with years of pain and unspoken truths. "You never told me," she says quietly, eyes shimmering with hurt. He replies, voice steady but heavy, "I didn't want to lose you twice." Between them hangs a fragile truce, a complex web of loyalty and betrayal. Outside, the city lights flicker against the night sky, mirroring the turbulence within. This brief encounter signals a shift, not just in business, but in their intertwined destinies. The empire's future is uncertain, but the personal war now carries stakes that neither can ignore. Love, rivalry, and redemption collide in a moment of fragile understanding. Alone in his office, the young man reflects on the summit's outcome. The empire stands but barely. The boardroom vote marked a peak decision, a turning point from which there is no retreat. He leans against the window, watching the city pulse with life beneath him. His voice is low, almost a whisper. This is the moment everything changes. He knows the path ahead will demand more sacrifice, more resilience. Yet beneath the weight of responsibility, a quiet fire burns, a hope that even in ruin, something new might be born. Outside, the city lights blur into streaks of gold and blue, the night alive with possibility. He breathes deeply, ready to face the storm to come. This is the peak, the summit of power and pain. The moment where legacies are forged or shattered forever. The empire stands fragile but intact, yet the young man's victories feel hollow against the backdrop of his personal losses. In a quiet moment he visits his mother's modest home, a stark contrast to his high-rise world. She greets him with a tired smile, the years of sacrifice written in the lines on her face. He sees not just the woman who raised him, but the cost behind every success. "You've become everything you promised," she says softly, "but remember who you are beneath it all." Her words strike a chord, grounding him in the turmoil of power and loss. The young man sits across from her, hands trembling slightly, and realizes that legacy is not measured in empires or money, but in love and sacrifice. This painful clarity reshapes his view of success, illuminating the path forward with humility and hope. Back in his penthouse, the young man begins to rebuild, not just his company but himself. Late nights at the desk are now tempered by moments of quiet reflection. He revisits old letters, photographs, and memories, long buried beneath ambition's weight. Each page, each image reconnects him to the person he once was, the dreams that shaped him before power demanded everything else. His hands trace a worn photograph of his first love, sister to his rival, a bittersweet reminder of what he lost, and what still might be salvaged. The city pulses below, indifferent but alive, a constant reminder that life moves forward, regardless of pain. The young man breathes deeply, the weight of legacy now shared between ambition and redemption, strength and vulnerability. The young man's relationship with the woman, his rival's sister and first love, grows complex as they navigate fragile truths and lingering feelings. In a quiet cafe tucked away from the city's glare, they sit across from each other, eyes heavy with unspoken words. She admits the weight of family loyalty, conflicts with her own desires. He listens, understanding the impossible choices they face. "We are prisoners of legacy," she says softly, "but maybe we can rewrite the rules." Their hands brush briefly, a spark in the storm. The future is uncertain, their alliance fragile yet vital. Together they face a world where love and rivalry blur, challenging the very foundation of their lives and empires. This fragile connection may be the key to healing old wounds and building something new. The young man faces a final painful decision, whether to relinquish control of the empire to save what remains of his soul and relationships. Alone in the boardroom, late at night, he pores over documents outlining the transfer of power. The cold steel and glass walls reflect his conflicted face, torn between legacy and love. His voice breaks as he mutters, "What is an empire if I lose myself in the process?" The weight of sacrifice presses down harder than ever. He envisions a future where power is balanced by compassion, where legacy means more than domination. The silence of the empty room is filled with possibility and loss. He takes a deep breath, ready to make the choice that will define not just his company, but the man he hopes to become. In a poignant moment of resolution, the young man meets his first love once more, this time without barriers of rivalry or corporate walls. Under a sky painted with dawn's first light, they stand on a quiet rooftop, the city awakening below. No words are needed, only the understanding born of shared pain and hope. He takes her hand gently, a silent promise of renewal and forgiveness. The past, with its betrayals and heartbreak, fades into the rising sun. He whispers, "Whatever comes next, we face it together." The empire may be forever changed, but so are they. In this fragile moment, love and legacy entwine, offering a future reborn from sacrifice, courage, and the unyielding human heart. The young man stands alone in the quiet boardroom, the aftermath of the final decision still settling like dust on polished surfaces. His empire remains, but its shape has changed, redefined by sacrifice and hard-won wisdom. He breathes deeply, feeling the weight of all he's lost and gained. The city outside glows softly through vast windows, a silent witness to his journey. His reflection stares back, a man transformed, no longer just a ruthless CEO, but a person shaped by love, betrayal, and redemption. He whispers, "I left the company, but never left her." The room holds a sacred stillness, the echo of choices made and futures forged. Outside, life pulses on, a constant reminder that endings are merely beginnings in disguise. In the sanctuary of his penthouse, he faces a silent mirror, the only witness to his truth. Fireworks erupt in the distance, splashing color across the night sky. His gaze is steady, searching, filled with a mixture of regret and hope. The city celebrates below, oblivious to the quiet reckoning inside. He reaches out, fingertips brushing the glass, as if to touch a memory or a future still unwritten. The reflection blurs, merging past and present. In this moment, he embraces the full complexity of his journey, the power lost and love rediscovered. The night holds a fragile promise whispered on the wind. Every end holds the seed of a new beginning. A child's small hand reaches up toward an empty boardroom chair, a symbol of legacy and hope intertwined. The young man watches quietly from behind, a faint smile touching his lips. This moment carries the weight of history and the promise of the future. The child's eyes are wide with wonder, unburdened by the complexities that have shaped the empire. In this simple gesture lies a silent vow, to build not just wealth, but a legacy of love and integrity. The past and future converge in this fragile act, a testament to the enduring power of family, forgiveness, and new beginnings. The young man's heart swells, knowing this is the true victory, the chance to rewrite the story on better terms. The young man and the woman stand side by side on a quiet rooftop, the city spread out beneath them like a tapestry of light and possibility. Their hands clasp tightly, a symbol of unity forged through trials and revelations. No words are spoken, none are needed. Their eyes meet, speaking volumes of forgiveness, resilience, and love rekindle. The night air is cool, carrying whispers of the past and hopes for what lies ahead. Together, they face a world reshaped by pain and courage, ready to write new chapters, ones built on trust, understanding, and shared dreams. The empire's shadow fades behind them as they step forward, partners not just in business but in life. This is the dawn of a new legacy. As the first light of dawn breaks, the young man gazes out over the awakening city. The journey has been brutal, marked by loss, betrayal, and sacrifice, but also profound transformation. He breathes in the new day, a quiet smile breaking through years of hardened resolve. His empire may no longer be the same, but his heart is fuller. The future is uncertain, but filled with promise. We survived the fall, he thinks, and now we rise, stronger, wiser, together. The city hums with life, a living testament to resilience. In this moment, power is redefined, not by control, but by connection. The sun climbs higher, lighting the path forward, and with it, the chance for redemption, love, and a legacy reborn.